Java has many inbuilt functions. These inbuilt functions help us to do multiple different types of program. In this course, we are going to start with math functions. Math functions are the part of math class. Rather, we can say that these are present in math class. And math class is present in Lang package. Since the Lang package is the default package, so we do not need to import this package in our program. So without importing the Lang package, we easily make use of math functions which are present in math class. Math functions are always written with its class name. So we see here the first function, that is math.min. This function returns the minimum of the two numbers. So any two numbers when we pass, the function returns the minimum. We see here the first example, math.min 5, 6. So it will return 5. So x is 5. It is also used with the fractional values. So double n equals to math.min 4.6, 2.8. So here we see that the minimum is 2.8. The min function easily works with the negative values also. So when we pass the 2 of the negative value, it returns the minimum, and so it returns minus 8.5. We know that in negative, minus 6 is having higher value than minus 8. The next function is your math.max. This function returns the maximum of the two number, that is the greatest among the two number. And so we see some of the examples here, that is int n equals to math.max 4, 8. So the n value that it will return is 8. Second example, double x equals to math.max 12.7, 18.4. So it will return the maximum, that is 18.4, as the value of x. Working with the negative numbers, it also see that double x equals to math.max minus 67.6, minus 97.4. If we don't pay attention, then the student will write minus 97, but we know that in negative, minus 67 is having higher value, so it will return minus 67.6 as the maximum out of these two values. The next we see is your math.par. Math.par, this function is used to find the par raised to a specific base of a number. It always returns a double type value and it accepts the negative value also. So we see the first example. Suppose we have to represent x to the power of n, where x is the value whose power we have to calculate and n is the power value. Then we will write double x1 equals to math.par x, n. So based on this, if we have to calculate the value 56 to the power of 4, then we will write double d equals to math.par 56, 4. So this is your x and this is your n. Now it is important to note that if the par value is less, then we can also write as a to the power of 3 can be written as a into a into a. Because some of the places we see that instead of using par function, it is written like this. But if the par value is more, suppose in the place of 3, it is 13. We cannot write a into a into a into a for 13 times. In that case, we have to make use of par function. And then we will write math.par a, 13. The next function is your mat.sqrt. SQRT is to calculate the square root. This is very important to pay attention that the square root, the power and the square root are two different functions. This function is used to find the square root of any positive number. Now this is also very important that mat.sqrt works only with the positive number, not with the negative number. The square root of a negative number is an imaginary number. So we never pass negative number as an argument. It returns a double type value. So we write double n equals to mat.sqrt 4.0. Then it will return n value as 2.0. But if we write double n1 equals to mat.sqrt minus 3.2, then n will have a value as NaN, non-applicable number. So this is very important. The output of n1 will be NaN if the number is passed in negative. Like if we pass here mat.sqrt 3, then it will return n value as 1.732. So this is the square root which finds the square root of any positive number only. The another math function is CBRT. Now CBRT is cube root and it also works with negative number. This is the major difference between SQRT and CBRT. So mat.cbrt, this function is used to find the cube root. We see how it is written. The cube root is written like this, of a positive or a negative number. It always return a value in a double data type. So we see one example. Double n equals to mat.cbrt 27.0. It will return the answer n as 3.0. As we see, 3.0 into 3.0 into 3.0 will return to 27.0. So we can write cube root of 227.0 equals to 3.0. The next is mat.log. Now this function is used to find the natural logarithmic value of any given argument. Like we see, if we pass the log value or as 6.25, it will return the value of d as 1.8325. And if we write double d1 equals to mat.log 6, then the log value of 6 it will return, that is 1.79175. So these are a function which help us to calculate the logarithmic value of any given number. The next is mat.abs. Now this is a very simple but very important function. This function is used to return an absolute value, that is, it returns only magnitude of a number without its sign value. Thus, it always returns positive number. Normally, we can say it converts negative value to positive. It means if we have to show any expression or any number always in positive, or if it is in negative and we have to convert it into positive, we make use of ABS, absolute value. Let us see one example. Write a Java expression for, this is a mod. This represents mod. Now, this shows that the value will be returned in positive, which is represented as absolute value in the maths function. So math.abs 0.05 minus 2 into y into y into y. So this is the Java expression of the given mathematical expression. The next function that we see is math.round, a very important function. This function returns the value in rounded form. If the fractional part of a number is below 0.5, then it returns the same integer. And if the fractional part is 0.5 and above, then it returns the next higher integer value. Let us see the example. Double d equals to math.round 6.25. We see here that the fractional value is 25, that is lower than your 0.5. So it will return 6.0. Then we see double d1 equals to math.round 6.5. So if the fractional part is 0.5 or more than 0.5, then it convert or round up to the next highest digit. So after 6 comes 7. So the answer will be 7.0. We see the third example. Double d2 equals to math.round 8.6. If it is 8.6, 0.6 we will see. So it is more than 0.5. So it will return 9.0. For negative numbers, it is also applicable with the negative number. So double m equals to math.round minus 6.5. Now we see here that it is in negative form. So it will convert to the next higher. That's why it will go to minus 6.0, as minus 6.0 is higher than minus 6.5 because 0.5 fractional part is there. We see the another example. Double m equals to math.round minus 6.2. Now 0.2, it means it is less than 0.5 or neither it is 0.5. So it will convert to the next smaller integer value. So it will return m equals to minus 7.0. This is very important to go with the negative number and pay more attention on negative numbers while rounding up. The next very important truncating of the value is math.rint. It returns the truncated value of the number if the fractional part is less than or equal to 0.5. The function returns the next smallest integer value. That is, the function does not truncate to next higher integer value. This is the major difference between rint and round function. Round function truncate if the value is 0.5 or higher. But for rint, 0.5 will also remain the same number. For this, you need to have more than 0.5. So we see here one example. Double x equals to math.rint 7.5. Since 0.5, in spite of having 0.5, it will not truncate to 8.0. It will remain as it is, and so the x value is 7.0. Double x1 equals to math.rint 7.6. Now it is more than 0.5. So it will truncate to the next highest digit. So it will return 8.0. We see the another example. Double d equals to math.rint 6.25. Now it is 0.25, so it will remain as 6.0. For negative numbers, double m1 equals to mat.rint minus 9.5. Still again, we see that it is 0.5. If it is 0.5, it will not truncate to the next higher digit. So it will go back to the next smallest digit. So it will return minus 10.0. The next example we see double m2 equals to mat.rint minus 9.6. Now 0.6, which is greater than 0.5, and rint says if it is greater than 0.5, then only it will truncate to the next highest digit. So 0.6 is greater than 0.5, so it will convert to the next highest digit. As the number is in negative, so it will convert and it will print the value of m2 as minus 9.0. We see here the difference between round and rint. This is very important to understand. Mat.round 7.5. So 0.5 is there and round function says if the value is 0.5 or more than 0.5, it will truncate to the next highest digit. So it will convert 8.0. Rint, mat.rint 7.5. It will return 7.0 only. Mat.round 7.8. It will truncate to 8.0. Mat.rint 7.8. 0.8 more than 0.5. So it will also convert to 8.0. I hope this has cleared you about the difference between round and rint. The next is your mat.ceil. Now ceil is up. So this function is used to terminate any fractional value to the next highest integer value. Even if you are 5.1, it will convert to 6. And if you are 5.9, then also it will convert to 6. Let us see one example. Double n equals to mat.ceil 6.25. So since it is 0.25, then also it will convert to 7.0. Double n equals to mat.ceil 6.82. This is 82, then also it will convert to 7.0. For the negative also the remain same. Double n equals to mat.ceil minus 6.25 will also get converted to the next highest integer value in negative. So n will have minus 6.0. Double n equals to mat.ceil minus 6.85. Then also it will convert to minus 6.0. The whole thing is summarized as the ceil function do not have any variation of 0.5 greater or lower. If it is more than the whole integer value, even a one fraction value more, it will convert to the next highest integer value. The next function is floor. Floor is down. It means this function is used to round up the given number down to the next nearest integer value. It means double n equals to mat.floor 6.25 is also 6.0, whereas if you are having 6.8 or 6.9, then also it will convert and truncate you to 6.0 only. Similarly with the negative numbers, double n equals to mat.floor minus 6.25 will also truncate you to the nearest smallest integer value, and that is it will return n value as minus 7.0. Similarly, if we use our floor function with the value minus 6.85, then also it will convert to minus 7.0. So this is the important function mat.ceil and mat.floor. The next very important function is mat.random. This function returns the random number between 0 and 1. Normally, the return value is a fractional number. We see from 0 to 1 there are many fractional values, 0.1, 0.123, 0.1234. So like that, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, when we come 10 by 10, then we got 1. So this is very clear in our ruler. So if we have to generate randomly some numbers, then we make use of random function. Let us see the first example. Double d equals to mat.random. It will return any double value to d which is ranging from 0 to 1. So in between 0 to 1, any random number will get generated. Suppose there is a small program we see to generate 10 random numbers between 0 to 1. Then we will put the equation under the for loop and we write for int I equals to 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus, double d equals to mat.random and system.out.println d inside the loop. Automatically, we see that 10 numbers ranging between 0 to 1 are generated randomly. And if we execute for the second time, then we see 10 different number, not the same number. It is a different 10 digits are coming, which is ranging between 0 to 1. Now there are some modifications in the random function. The first one is to generate the random number between 1 to n. Now if we make only use of mat.random, then it will generate random number between 0 and 1 only. But now if I want to generate the random number between 1 to 10, like there are roll number 1 to 10 and I have to call the 10 girls randomly, then I can use any digit from in between. So similarly, if we write int r equals to int mat.random into n, where n value can be anything which is inputted by the user, then from 1 to n, any one number will get generated randomly. For the second number, we have to execute it again. And we see here that there is a typecasting use. This is your typecasting if you remember. Because random number generates the fractional values, so it is truncated to generate the integer values. Now there is a typecasting used here. So if we see n value as 5, then from 1 to 5 any number will get generated and stored in R. Here see one example. To generate random numbers between 1 to 10. So int r equals to int mat.random into 10. So in between 1 to 10, any one digit randomly will generate and will store in R. When we execute for the second time, then another randomly one number will come ranging from 1 to 10 and will store in R. So we see here, this will give any number, that is any one number between 1 to 10. The another modification in the random function, if we have to generate 10 numbers randomly between 1 to n, where we see that n is the value which is having 10. So then we will put this equation under the for loop and 10 numbers will get generated randomly one after the another, not in sequence 1, 2, 3, 4, but in randomly 5, 8, 10, 9, 6 like this. 10 digits will come ranging between 1 to 10 because the n value is 10. Suppose I take n value as 50, then 10 numbers will come randomly ranging from 1 to 50. Next we see, to get any integer random number between m and n, where m and n are lower and upper limit. It means here we are not fixing 1 to any digit. User will provide both the lower and the upper value. So in this case, the function is int r equals to integer, int as a typecasting, mat.random into n minus m, parenthesis close, plus m. So this will generate the random number in between m to n. This is the next